Yo, what's up, everybody? So I've got Romeo with me. He's one of my smartest, best traders. He's the dude that took $2,500 down to $84 and $84 up north of $20,000. He looks at charts differently than I look at charts. I look at it from a psychology point of view, and he actually charts and looks at analytics and data. So I'm going to let Romeo explain what he does because he just crushes the SPY each and every day. Take it away, Romeo.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share. So I know a lot of people have Webull. They don't have TradingView or they don't have different apps to utilize, how to look at certain zones or how to create supply zones, how to create demand zones. And the reason why we want to use this is so that way we can kind of you're able to understand where to sell and where to buy, right? So demand is when people are
And where do you get this chart from? I mean, let's simplify it. People are like, hey, where'd you find that? It's a great chart. I love it, but my computer doesn't do that shit. So what would you say to them?
So I'm gonna actually, delete some of the stuff so that way you can actually see it. So this is all done by me. So this isn't, something that, is given.
Okay, so you're on Webull. This is the Webull chart, and then you went ahead and you put in some lines along the bottom, along the top, just so people understand. If they want to do this with a stock, that's what they would do, right?
Exactly. So we could do that on any given stock, cool. Right? So the understanding right now is to show, how to create certain zones so that way you can play it accordingly. And that's basically, the gist of it, right?
So, another question. Are you talking about buying or selling? I'm one of your audience members. I just don't know. Are you looking at that zone because it's a buy zone there or it's like a be careful?
Yeah. So this yellow one that I created, this is your buying zone. The top is your selling zone. So what I do is that because we're on, we like to trade daily, right? So a lot of us are intraday traders. So we like to trade daily. So we need to understand where is our demand and supply zone for the day, not just for the, for long-term positions, but for the day itself. So what we have to do is we have to kind of see where the movements happen. So I always, trade on a 3-minute chart because it's a lot easier to trade and you can actually see the movements a little bit better. So what I did and this morning is like, all right, I want to know, where is my buy zone and where is my sell zone? So what I did is like, I took a look at yesterday's and I just kind of zoom out and I'm saying, okay, well, yesterday's top was 30, right here was at 38.20. So now I create a little rectangle and I say, hey, this is where it's stopped at up. And then like, this is where it topped out and between these two areas right here. And then I just zoom it out. And if you knew it today, we topped out right there. So that's my sell zone. This is your supply area right here. So that means that more institutions are probably going to sell at this point, and which is exactly what happened. They sold and it dropped.
Did you buy it then?
Was that?
Did you buy again? Because I see it hit your buy zone in the afternoon after it dropped.
But what I have is I have another one. So yesterday what we saw.
Well, wait. Did you buy already or not?
Yeah, I am in right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
I am in right now and I have a stop loss right about here.
Oh, so that's interesting. We can watch that as the video goes because I actually want the market to go up as well because I just entered into some UVXY puts when it was right about $20. So just so people get some understanding what's going on. So yeah, I'm going to track it with you.
I'm going to actually explain why I have that for now as a stop loss. Doesn't mean that I think it's going to go back down, but I'll give you an example. This is what
But do you currently have a stop loss in right now?
Correct, I do right now, yes.
So if it goes under what are you selling?
If it goes under 429.82, I am selling.
Okay, I'll let you know if it. It's bouncing around.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you something else, right? So yesterday we have the drop.
Oh, because you're moving the cursor. I get it. Sorry.
Yep. We have a drop. We have a rally. We have a drop. We have a little bit of a base, but the rally started right here. So what I did is that I created another demand zone right there. And if you saw earlier today, we had that. This was your supply. This is your demand. So I like to color code it so that way I don't get confused on what I am trying to do for the day. So I try to put it in yellow. So we had that drop. That was your put sections because it did not. I look at 4 candles on a 3-minute chart. And if you look at the 4 candles, there was no other candle that went into the zone. And it just kept going. Now, yesterday I created this demand zone right here because this is where your rally started. So you had your drop, you had your base, and you had your rally. So this is your new demand zone for the day. Remember, every day is different, right? So this was for the day. Now, if you saw it, it bounced off of it. It bounced off of it. And then what happens? Once it goes through it, it dropped all the way down to my main demand zone that I created. So now,
quick question: did you play both sides then? Had you played puts today and calls then?
Correct.
Okay, so you're letting people know you can play the market both ways. You don't just have to be sitting on the sideline waiting for an entry. Yeah, because people are just watching this and they're like, oh, I got to wait all day to enter. But no, you're saying based on the chart from the previous day, you use these rectangles, simplify it, right? Yep. And it says you can enter here. And if you do, it's more than likely going to go up or down based on the chart from yesterday. Exactly. So you went up and then you rode puts down. Now, when did you sell your puts? Can you tell us all? Because did you sell them in the first rectangle or did you let them go all the way down?
So I actually sold in the first rectangle.
Okay, so you had puts from the top and you sold them. Okay, yeah, because profit's profit. I just got you.
Exactly. Now, I missed my entries for my puts. So what happened was when I saw this exit my the demand zone that I created, I wanted to get into puts right here at this candle that I'm pointing at because I knew that the next candle, as long as the next candle was red or it was below, it did not, go back into my demand zone, it will drop. But I got busy and I did not want to chase. Since I missed it. And obviously it did hit the following main demand zone that I created a couple days ago. So now with calls, being that we rejected the previous demand zone that I created, that has now become your supply zone. So now for me personally, I will not enter calls until we surpass this this zone right here. So for me personally, my calls will be right about 432. 432.70 would be my entry for calls because that would determine that we should rotate our way back up again. So now is about being patient because you see how we hit it, it got rejected. Now we have to see if this gets rejected again. If not, guess what's going to happen? We're going to test the next demand zone, which is a major demand zone, which I created. If we go back into the daily, I created a while back simply because that is where your first.
So what number is that? Just for people watching and watching the SPY.
425.60.
425. Okay, so if some reason, and I don't think this is happening today, but if for some reason the SPY drops and people are watching this video tomorrow afternoon or evening, and the SPY is at like 427, which I hope it's not, or 426, you're saying the next support level will be 425.60. I happen to sternly agree with you there. But I think 425, I actually thought 425.40. So we're off by about 20 cents, which is pretty damn close.
Pretty close,
Now, I've seen some crazy buying today. Just to put it in perspective, I've seen some crazy buying in Tesla. I've been seeing some crazy buying in some other companies like Microsoft. Oh, by the way, so let's just date it. Today's March 1st. We're doing this at like 1 p.m. I also started liking Chinese stocks. How do you feel about Chinese stocks before you continue?
Actually, I'm a big fan of NEO. So, NEO's one of my favorites, especially now that it's...
But what about Chinese market in general? I mean, you're a pretty smart guy, and I'm watching Baba and Baidu, and they're up 8%, 9%, 5%.
Yeah. I do like it as long as I'm still waiting, until Fed speaks. Okay.
So Romeo is much more conservative and is a much better trader than I am, just to clarify with everybody. So if you're interested in Chinese stocks, we are suggesting you wait right now. There might look like good opportunities. Just put them on your radar. You heard me say Baidu, Baba, he likes NEO. Put them on your radar. Okay, please continue with the lesson, Romeo. Sorry for interrupting.
What I'm going to do is, because people don't know how to create certain, their little charts or so forth. So what I did is I go back into the daily and I see where was a drop and how is a rebound. So you always have to look for the big, for the candle to kind of confirm that, hey, this is going to be a good demand zone, because that's where your demand zone is usually your buy area. When you're trading in between, this is a daily chart, by the way. So if you're trading in between, you're basically trading in choppiness. And that's where we are right now. We're trading in choppiness. So this is your main demand zone. What that means is that every time you look at it bounces right off, right? So you want to make sure that your demand zone that you created it basically bounces right off of it. And it doesn't stay in there too long. If you have more than 4 or 5 candles in your demand zone, that no longer become your demand zone, and there's a different demand zone. So
I have a question again for everybody.
Yeah,
if you're trading, let's say I like to trade early in the morning. Let's say I'm trading at 9:50 in the morning. What do I do? Do I look at yesterday's chart with you?
Yeah. So,
or do you just stay away? Because I know you like to trade at like 1 p.m. You told everybody, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I stay away because you never know. Like, we'll take a look, right? So this was yesterday in the morning,
right?
And it did bounce off of here very well. But you have days where it'll do the complete opposite. For me, it's just about being more patient and just seeing how it reacts. Because today, people would have probably got calls right about here, to be honest. They're going to see, oh, well, we have 437. We're going to.
Yeah, even the next dip or even your first support line. I would have bought calls there.
Yeah.
Your blue triangle.
Yep.
And then it dipped.
We went up. Exactly. So what happens is that you see how we got rejected here. I guarantee you, a lot of people bought calls right around here, right when it was at the top, thinking that we're going to 440.
Yes, and the banks and the institutions, they bank the premiums on that.
Exactly.
Okay, because that's who owns the SPY. Just so everybody's clear, who owns the SPY? Because it's per share. It's like what, $433 per share, and these shares are being bought in allotments of 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. So when they have these shares on their books, let's say I'm going long in the market and I've got 4 million shares, that allows me to sell what? 40,000 contracts at about $5 or $6 a piece based on whatever the IV is. And I'm just banking $250,000 as a bank. So when I tell you that they're making money off the retail trader, that's how it happens.
Exactly. So yeah, going back into creating your demand zone, right? So if you look at this candle right here, this was a huge green candle. That means that buyers came in and they bought it bought it back up. So this is going to be your next demand zone. So what we do is that we create the candle where your candle was prior to the green one, which was right here. We create from the base to the wick, and that is your new demand zone. And if you notice, it's been bouncing off. This was back in July. Prior to that one was right here. This is your major, in dark purple is your major demand zone. If we go through this, which I doubt we will, that's going to be the last resort before the market crash. So 380 is where SPY needs to completely hold before market.
You got my attention, Romeo. I heard you say market crash. It's market crash. What? Okay, excellent. Yes, I completely agree with you there. In fact, I only think the SPY at the worst in this current market that we're in, if it retests there, I have 2 levels of support. The first one being what you said, except I call it 424, 425. And the second one being if it breaks 424, 425, which I would put right now at 50-50, just based on the world's conditions, not based on the economics, just what's going on in the world. If it breaks that, I think it would go to 419 or 420. If it happens, I certainly hope it doesn't happen today. All right, let's go on.
Yeah, and if we look at this, right? So this was, sorry, I created it wrong. So this was one that was created. This is how, it started back in, what was it, May? It started its run. And if we go back into here, guess what happened? It bounced right off of that major demand zone, which was. And
your lines stay there the whole time for everybody? I mean, if they do it on their own phone?
It can stay there.
That's cool. Okay. I don't know. Right now,
I have it on my desktop. I could go on my iPad. It stays on my iPad. If I go on my phone, it stays on my phone.
So people should take the time, the stocks that they know as family, make a chart, use Romeo's. You make a couple of rectangles. It tells you the top. It tells you the bottom. It tells you good entry. It tells you when to exit and secure profit. But you could do it for you. So you got a blank one. You just separate it. That's great, man.
So this is Tesla, right? So obviously, a lot of other people play Tesla really well, but
yeah, 1243 is the top.
Yep. Now what you do is that you create that, and then you create where your next
right, and it worked. It works. Your box rejected the next highest level when it spiked up that day.
Yep. And so the
support is where? Can we go to the support on the bottom and see if that matches up anything? Because that's pretty good support right there. That's a huge range.
Yeah, so we have to go back a little bit. Let's go back. And we start seeing where was the original run. So you
probably back here. What is that? August, right?
Yep, in August, which was
no, right even here. Back here. Yeah. That's where or is that too low?
We have to. There's more, right? So this was your major support. It was right here. So you have to go back. This is your drop. This is your range.
So what's that first green line? Let's go back to the green line right above support. What number is that?
This one right here is 671.
671. Okay, so what is Tesla at now?
Tesla right now is what? Today's low is 697.
Oh, it's 863. Okay, because I was gonna say, man, I'd be with some behind one. I'd buy some at 671 also.
Yeah. So here's the thing that on this one, because we're going further out. So this would be my dark purple, which means that you don't want Tesla to fall out of this range. Would be right here. Sorry. Would be right here, which it tested a few times. That's your last resort.
Now, are you okay to stand it when it tests something like that? It's testing it. That's a lot of points with Tesla. So do you sell as soon as it hits like one of those lines, right? Because then you save yourself the aggravation of just being in there.
Exactly. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to play a little bit, sooner. We'll go back into the first original movement. So we'll say, hey, well, we saw the drop. We saw there's just so much choppiness over here. But here is where your baseline is. So I would say this is where your first demand is going to be in this range right here. And then we created. Oops. So we got a while to go before this one hits. Now, we look at the movement, the actual movement was right here. So your new supply, your new demand zone is going to be right here. Mind you, I'm doing everything on my computer. And if we saw, we actually fell below it, but we rejected it, right? So we rejected it, bounced and bounced.
So the question is, let's say I'm looking at Tesla today, right? What would I do today? Am I just holding or am I putting in a bid for something?
All right, so let's look at today.
All right, just dropped 6 points. It looks pretty tasty to me. It's 862.
So
can I buy some at 862? Is that okay?
I would say not yet. Here we go. So this was when we had that original run. For me personally, I want to see if it can hold. This area right here is where I will look at.
So like 854, something like that. Okay, I'm impatient. I can't wait for it to go down to 854, especially if it has a little green bar there. What if today finishes strong and it goes up higher? Because a lot of people probably have FOMO. So what do you think about that, bro?
I mean, look, you could have FOMO, but what happens, with Tesla, you already know, then if it doesn't break, if you want to get into Tesla, me personally, if I was to get into Tesla, it would have to break this level right here. Gotcha.
So as we could tell people, it's a good thing sometimes. Just because you analyze a stock does not mean you have to either be a bull or a bear about it. You could just analyze it and be like, the trade's not for me, right?
Yep. And so here's my thing is that, so if Tesla can surpass this area and it passes this wick right here, we're looking, then it can potentially reach back up to here again. But I wouldn't enter any calls for Tesla until we break this support right here. And then the next one, basically.
All right. So if Tesla goes over 872, it's going to be okay today. Right now it's at 862. And there's a good chance it's going to move $10 in one direction or the other. So by the time the video releases, maybe tomorrow, we'll know whether it was bullish or bearish. So thank you, Romeo. And we're going to do this again. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you guys. There's more videos. We're talking about this stuff all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you.